Hello everybody, I think that many people have tried this kind of ice cream Snickers. Today we will cook it, only a giant size. But first, let's study the original, therefore we open it up. From the outside it looks just like a chocolate bar. Let's look inside. So the first layer is milk chocolate, then a layer of peanuts with caramel, and the last layer is ice cream with cocoa and peanut butter. Let's taste it. Yeah, this is an awesome combination, you guys. Let's start cooking the ice cream. Milk powder is often used in factories, so we're going to do the same. We collect it, measure out the right amount on the scales. We need 3.5 kilograms. Pour the powdered milk into the first basin, and another 3.5 kilograms into the second. Here's also a little bit of cocoa, so that the color of the ice cream is as in the original. You'll also need some sugar. It also needs to be measured out on the scales. You should get 4.5 kilograms. Pour it all into the first basin. Then measure out the same amount of sugar. And pour into the second. But now you will need a lot of water, 70 liters. To make it easier to mix, first pour half of the water out. And just combine the dry powders with water with a stick until you get kind of a cold cocoa. And repeat the same with the second basin. When everything is stirred really well, pour in the remaining water. In order to increase the fat content of the mixture, add some 33% cream. Now we need some xanthan and guar gum. They will make the mixture much thicker to get a good ice cream. We measure out 115 grams of each powder. Mix them together, and gradually pour into the mixture. At the same time, mix with the mixer. These powders need to be mixed very carefully so that there are no lumps. And if everything is done correctly, the mass begins to thicken. The first batch is ready. Let's move on to the second. We'll pour in the xanthan and guar gum. "20 minutes of stirring and our mass has become thick. It's time to put the ice cream in the freezer. We'll leave them here for the whole day. On the third day, we will need a lot of peanuts. Here is 50 kilograms. Our peanuts are peeled, but raw. So we'll fry them up. We pour almost a full cauldron. And turn on the gas. Now it needs to be constantly stirred so that the peanuts are fried evenly. After 30 minutes of roasting, it begins to smell really tasty. Like some beans, there's a lot of this here. Therefore, the first batch of peanuts is definitely ready. Pour it into a saucepan. Done. And now we'll fill the cauldron with the next batch of raw peanuts and fry them too. So that way we do all 50 kilograms. The composition of the ice cream includes peanut butter. Therefore, we put the fried peanuts into a melon jar. The stone millstones gradually grind the peanuts, and because of the oil released, the mass becomes moist. So we add more. The melon jar will grind the peanuts for 2 hours, after which the peanut butter is obtained. And to make it sweet, add some corn syrup. And pour the perfectly smooth peanut butter into a bowl. In total, we made 3 batches. Now our bowl is completely filled. We go to our ice cream, and we see that for the whole day, it has barely even set. Pour half of the peanut butter into each basin. And mix it into the ice cream with a large mixer. By the way, this will also interfere with the air bubbles so that the ice cream will turn out way more lush. Now we'll leave it to freeze. Meanwhile, we prepare a mold for the giant Snickers ice cream bar. The inner walls are lubed with oil and immediately smeared. Now our parchment sheet will perfectly stick to the walls, and the number of folds will be minimal. Smooth out the parchment, lift up the wall, and fix the parchment with tape. Our first wall is ready. Do the same thing to the rest of the walls. We put some plywood and a food film, and also install the walls. And close the mold. Done. It's time to melt the first batch of milk chocolate, meaning 10 kilograms. Stir periodically so that the chocolate melts evenly. And an hour later, everything's ready. We remove the gastro capacity and pour all the chocolate on the bottom of the mold. Don't forget to scrape the remains from the walls. There's at least 1 kilogram of chocolate there. And spread the chocolate on the bottom of the wide spatula. The next day, our chocolate is set, and our ice cream has too. So you need to mix it one last time to still mix up the air bubbles for splendor. Done. While the form is still empty and light, we transfer it to the freezer. We scoop up the ice cream and transfer it into the mold. Carefully level out the ice cream layer and close the freezer. For the caramel, pour 8 liters of milk into a saucepan in advance and put it on the stove to heat up at a low heat. Now you need to squeeze out 7.5 kilograms of corn syrup into a large saucepan. We set the pan on the burner and put 30 kilograms of sugar on to sleep. Pour 4 liters of water on top and mix so that all the sugar gets wet. Done. You can turn on the burner and cover the pan. Use a lid for this, so it can heat up faster. When the caramel boils, we remove the lid and install a thermometer. Cook the caramel to 144 degrees. Now, you will need a lot of butter. So open them up. This block is 5 kilograms and we need 4,200. Therefore, we cut off the excess and cut the rest into large cubes. And throw it into the caramel. Now this oil needs to be mixed with caramel. Now you just need to pour in 8 liters of hot milk. And mix that with the caramel as well. At this point, the caramel's ready. Pour half of it into another saucepan. And cover all the roasted peanuts. Mix all this with a stick until the caramel envelops the peanuts. Done. We go to the freezer and just put this mass into the mold with our hands. We emptied out the first pan, so we bring in the second one and continue to fill in the mold with caramel. Carefully level up the caramel. And leave it to finally freeze overnight. The next day, we're going to take out our mold. And we open it up. We don't need the wooden walls anymore, so we remove them. And close the mold again. Pour some milk chocolate into the Marmite. And melt it. But this time we need a lot more fluid chocolate. Therefore, pour a glass of oil and mix. Now the chocolate is how you need it. Pour this in. First of all, fill the cavities that appeared after we removed the wooden walls. Melt another portion of chocolate. And pour it right on top. Smear this all over the surface. And wait for solidification so it can be opened. This giant Snickers ice cream is ready. In fact, it's one of the heaviest bars we've ever made. Its weight is as much as 200 kilograms, and it took 5 days to prepare it. Let's cut it open and look inside. Hello everyone, today we will not increase McDonald's by very many times, but we will prepare a huge latte classic, potato dips, and Big Tasties. By the way, write down what is your favorite burger from McDonald's. I have it as my Big Tasty. Please like it in advance, it's going to be a very interesting video, let's go. Without the beautiful packaging, McDonald's is not McDonald's, so let's repeat the packaging, but on a huge scale. To do this, we will use this kind of corrugated cardboard. We unfold the original packaging, measure the dimensions of the boxes, multiply them, and transfer these dimensions to cardboard. Wherever necessary, we cut them out. And we bend the cardboard exactly according to the marked places. We squeeze out some hot glue and assemble the box. Now our Big Tasty box is ready. We also make a box for the fries. plastic bucket will serve as a large coffee cup. And we make the lid out of the same cardboard. In my opinion, it turned out pretty well. We arm ourselves with paints, and first of all, we paint a plastic bucket with it from a spray can in yellow. And we cover our cardboard products with acrylic paints. We put the painted lid on the already yellow bucket. We paste the inscription, and it turns out very similar to the glass from McDonald's. Here is such a box that turned out for the fries, and here's what we got for the Big Tasty. By the way, we made it according to the old box design. Maybe from the outside it seems that all of this is not so difficult, but it took us 15 hours to make all these boxes. The first thing we're going to do is make the French fries. This is the same French fries, but only in a different shape. So we need a bag of potatoes. We open it up. And begin to clean it. The peeled potatoes are dumped into a basin. And the same thing a few more times. Now we're left with a full basin of peeled potatoes, but it's dirty. Therefore, we pour them into the sink and fill it with water. We wash the dirt off of each potato and remove all the ice that we missed the first time. We put the perfectly peeled potatoes in a saucepan and fill that with water so that it completely covers the potatoes. Now we put that onto 2 burners. Our potatoes need to be boiled, but apparently we chose the wrong variety. For the potatoes to get soft, they were cooked for 7 hours. So we drain the excess water. And with the help of a potato masher, we knead the potatoes. When the masses become more or less homogeneous, we add quite a lot of salt and continue to knead. The shape of our fries can be very unusual, so repeat it on a large scale. We take these iron quarters, pour oil onto each of them, and smear that all around with a brush. And now we take our mashed potatoes and put them into the molds. And we rim it all around with our hands. And with the help of some tube-shaped object, we make the most similar shape of the potato dippers. And we throw those into the freezer for a whole day. In the meantime, we'll make a giant coffee. For this, we need 14 liters of milk. We open the bottles and pour them into a large saucepan. We put that onto the stove. And it'll be needed to heat it up to 60 degrees. In the meantime, let's get busy with some coffee beans. They are already fried, so now we just have to grind them. Therefore, put a little bit into a coffee grinder and grind. Our already ground coffee is poured into another saucepan. Thus, we need to grind all our 800 grams of coffee beans. Fill them with 5 liters of water. Mix. And throw all that onto the stove. We pour a lot of sugar into our huge espresso. And mix it again. The milk is already hot. Therefore, we scoop it and pour it into a blender. Close and beat the hot milk really well. After this procedure, the milk will turn into a foam. We send the foam into a large glass. And so we pass all the hot milk through the blender the same way. We install a sieve on top, and the coffee is already boiling, so we remove it from the stove and pour it into the large glass. That's our giant latte that's ready. Very similar to what they sell at McDonald's. Now let's make a giant Big Tasty. It consists of the Big Tasty sauce, tomatoes, lettuce, onions, cutlets, cheese, and of course buns. We'll start with them. Pour some water into a bowl. Add some dry yeast, salt, sugar, oil, and of course flour. We knead all this together and also add the flour until the dough stops sticking to your hands. We put this onto a baking tray. We bake 1 egg into a bowl and pour in a little milk. Mix that up. And when the dough is risen, we lubricate it with this mixture. Now we sprinkle some sesame seeds on top and into the oven at 200 degrees. Looking ahead, I will say that this test was not enough. We made a double portion and baked a bun like this from it. We released it from the foil and cut it in half. It turned out to be very soft. So now let's make our hamburger. In ground beef, we add some dry garlic and 2 chili pepper and a lot of salt. Well, we mix the spices with our hands. But there is very little fat in this minced meat, and the cutlet will be 100% dry. A piece of lard will help fix all of this. We cut off the unnecessary skin and cut the frozen fat into plates. Then into cubes. And chop it up. That's it. We send the cubes of lard into the minced meat. And mix it again. Now the cutlet will be very juicy. We transfer all the minced meat to the parchment. Done. Now we're going to grill it, so therefore we kindle it. Top the cutlet with some oil and smear it around with your hand. We put the grill grate on top and turn it over. We send the cutlet on to fry. To extinguish the fire, cover it with a lid and later fry without it. We pick up the cutlet with a spatula and turn it over. On this side, fry for another 10 minutes. And it's all ready. Now let's go to the cheese. We will use some emmental for the taste and mozzarella so that it melts well. Cut the cheese into smaller pieces. And grate. All the cheese is then thoroughly mixed together. Divide into half and pour into 2 pots. We put them on the stove and constantly stir them until we wait for the cheese to melt. We will prepare the molds now. Lubricate the plastic trays with oil. Pour out the hot cheese. And distribute it according to the shape. And just let them freeze like that. So for the Big Tasty sauce, we squeeze out a whole package of mayonnaise, pour in some paprika, black pepper, crushed garlic, we clean it, finally chop it, and rub with a knife all over the board. And that's also into the sauce. American mustard. Cut a lemon and squeeze the juice out of it. Barbecue sauce is a must. But that's not it. The most important thing left is a little liquid smoke. Stir for the last time and the big tasty sauce is ready. Tomatoes, iceberg lettuce, and onions are all needed from the vegetables. First, peel the onion. Then cut it into half rings. This time the onion was very spicy. Got the tomatoes. Well, and now let's put our big tasty together. We spread a slice of cheese onto the bun. Then a huge cutlet. Another slice of cheese. Put on the tomatoes. Onion. Iceberg lettuce. Pour all the sauce out on top. And cover that with the top bun. At this point, a huge Big Tasty is ready. By this time, the potatoes have already been frozen. You can pull them out. You can pull off the iron corners. And in my opinion, the shape turned out really great. You put a huge saucepan on the burners. And you need a lot of oil. We open it. And make a huge deep fryer. We lower our potato dippers into the hot oil. We take them out and put them onto the paper towels. We also fry the rest. Now let's put them into the box. There we go, we've prepared our giant McDonald's menu. All this took 3 days of work. And in my opinion, it turned out pretty similar to the original. So let's try it all. Our potato dippers. Our dippers have a crust that is not as crispy as in the original. But let's try the coffee. The coffee is delicious, very similar to a Mac latte. And let's finally cut into our Big Tasty.